Hi, it's Michael and David here, presenting Small Business Banter. A healthy micro and small business sector means a successful economy and a more vibrant society. Small Business Banter is about helping regional business owners better prepare for the current challenges and also for the next stage of business success. I'm Michael Kerr, founder of Kerr Capital, advisors to business owners. Each week with David Gregory, CEO of the Small Business Mentoring Service, we'll interview a different small business expert or a fellow business owner and operator. And they're going to share their best tips and insights for you, the listener. Small Business Banter is brought to you from the studios of 104.7 Gippsland FM and heard across Australia on the Community Radio Network. Thanks also to our supporters, Kerr Capital and the Small Business Mentoring Service. On today's episode of Small Business Banter, it's really pleasing to have in Joh Lyons. Joh is the founder of the VRI, a creative community space in Traralgon, based out of the Neighbourhood Learning House. Her work at the VRI over the years has included a range of really interesting projects. The Digital Shed, which is a digital literacy project, Alt Art, an emerging art project, Serving the Valley, hospitality training, and a whole bunch of other community building activities. She's also a co-director of Reactivate the Trobe Valley, which facilitates grassroots projects to help build a healthier, more connected and sustainable community and establish the region as a dynamic, creative, prosperous place to live, work and visit. Joh's worked on various things related to transitioning the Latrobe Valley through events, farmers markets, she's done a lot of stuff. We have her in today to talk more specifically about her recent role as head of the Gippsland Social Enterprise Collective, which is all about growing social enterprise in the region. So welcome into Small Business Banter, Joh.
Thanks, Mike. That was a nice introduction.
Nice to have you in. And just before I should acknowledge that my co-host David Gregory isn't able to get in today, but Joh, look, you've got a really interesting background. You just want to give us, your personal story in, a minute or so, just to put into context all that great work you've been doing.
Yeah, I've had lots of different jobs in my life, but probably one of the longest jobs I had was as a secondary school teacher, and then I've had a couple of small businesses, and then I sort of felt that there was community education. I'd also been a neighbourhood house coordinator, so I went back to the community education and worked with Traralgon Neighbourhood House in partnership with Reactivate to create this community space, the VRI, which was like a hands-on learning experiment, I suppose, and we wanted to make it sustainable, so that's why I became more interested in social enterprise. Okay,
and for the record, what do you see as social enterprise?
So, as opposed to sort of your not-for-profit or your non-profit, I think a social enterprise focuses more on trading for its sustainability. So doing business,
as opposed to being entirely dependent on funds and grants
and donations. Yeah. So I think social traders' definition is you need to generate at least 50% of your income through trading.
Okay, yeah. Look, and it's a bubbling area, isn't it? Social enterprise, and maybe one of the great hopes we have for rebuilding the economy and employees and owners. So I think I agree entirely with that definition. What the work that you're doing, you just recently formed the Gippsland chapter, is it, of the Social Enterprise Network?
And it came from CENVIC, so the Social Enterprise Network Victoria, which is also a new initiative. It's not a government initiative, but a few social enterprises got together, your big players like Ceres and Acre, Street.
Right. So some of the long-standing players in social enterprise.
Yeah. So they've come together and formed this social enterprise network, and then have created regional. So they were going to be regional leads, and so lots of people in Gippsland applied to be a regional lead, myself included, and we decided in Gippsland to become a collective rather than one of us take the role, probably because of the vast geographic spread of Gippsland. It would be really difficult for sort of one person or organisation to cover the whole region.
So, hey, like that geographically, what's one end to the other of your patch?
It's the size of Switzerland, Gippsland.
Okay.
So yeah, it's from like there's different markers, I guess, but basically from Baw Shire, which is your Drew and Warrigal sort of area, right down to the border. Mallacoota.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it made sense to, rather than have one lead you. And have you taken the responsibility for coordinating this? Is it 7?
It's a collective.
It is collective?
Yeah. So which is, I enjoy being a part of a team. And, we've also got representation in South Gippsland. So all the shires, the 6 shires in Gippsland have representation. We're looking for someone from Bass Coast, so your Phillip Island, that part of the world. But we haven't found someone yet, but we're still actively kind of trying to find representation from that area.
Yeah, good start though, collaboration. So what does the Social Enterprise Network aim to do? So
I think, to increase awareness of social enterprise, for one, because a lot of people don't really know what a sense of social enterprise is. And I think the other thing about social enterprise is that it's intentional to, have a social purpose as a business rather than, I think there's a lot of small businesses that are providing that social purpose of employment or doing a lot of good for the community, but social enterprises are kind of intentional from the start. So people sort of go into it with that intention of solving a social problem or protecting the environment or creating employment for otherwise difficult to employ people. Just to raise awareness, do some training and upskilling for people that are going down that path, and networking, which has always been, throughout my whole life, I've always found networking to be really beneficial.
Yeah, it is. In all cases, you're sharing and networking with people that can only help you. You're not really directly competing in any way, are you? So
no. Well, I think that when you bring people with similar intentions or purposes together, they can always find ways to work with one another.
So, and on the ground, is that encouraging new social enterprises? Is it supporting existing social enterprises, or both?
Yeah, both.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are some of the social enterprises that you could kind of just talk a little bit about?
Well, I can speak about ones in Latrobe City, which would, like, one of the ones that you may have heard of is Gippslandia, which is a broadsheet paper.
It's a really beautiful publication.
Yeah. So there's Gippslandia. Trobe Valley Enterprises would be another one, which provides employment for people with disabilities. So they do that through, I think they make signs, they do grounds maintenance, recycling, secure document shredding, sort of that kind of thing. And I've been for a walk through that place, and it's like such a beautiful thing to see how happy people are to have work, and to have somewhere to go every day. There's so many social benefits to work.
Yeah, having that structure is so important for a whole lot of reasons, financially, but also just having that sense of purpose or accomplishment is, I think we all like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's kind of feeling not going to work at the moment. there's also the Bee and the Spider is another small social enterprise that's like a retail outlet for local artists. So Matilda set up shelves in this little shop, and lots of local artists will bring their work in to get it sold there, and they also run little workshops. So that's been amazing for local artists. Matilda started at the VRI and sort of built her craft. She started running courses there, and then she sort of saw a need for more. There's also the Big Picture Space, which is a art training course online for Gippsland young people, because we also have no arts education in Gippsland from the border to, I think, Dandenong. There's no, apart from going to university, there's no TAFE art education anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So both an opportunity and filling a gap that really maybe shouldn't be a gap.
Yeah. So there are a few. There's just a handful. There's others. There's a brewing company in Traralgon that is a social enterprise because all the proceeds of their beer sales they donate to the community.
Right. Oh, so it's an interesting thing. This is, I guess, the opportunity is to differentiate your business when you're starting by saying we support this cause, or that we're going to help solve this particular issue. How do customers are very clear in most cases that they're buying and choosing to buy there because they see their money, some of their money going towards something that means something to them. How hard is it for those? Like, it's social enterprises are also businesses, aren't they? They have dual objectives, but how hard is it to sustain those promises, those brand promises, and deliver on the expectations of their consumers? Is that one of the things you going to be working with social enterprises to manage?
Yeah, I think because just having worked with lots of little startups, last year we had a social enterprise masterclass at Reactivate. So we had Tom Allen from Impact Boom come down from Queensland. He was amazing, and he led this masterclass. And I think the thing is that you really have to operate like a business. It is a business, and people aren't really going to buy in a sustainable way just for the social purpose. So you have to have you have to have a good product. You have to have, it's like who gives a crap and thank you water. That, if the water was crap, or if the
don't mix your metaphors or whatever they say about those.
Yeah, like if the service wasn't good, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. So it's premised on having products that people want.
Yeah.
But is it also then they're taking on the role of educating consumers about what's good and what's bad?
Yeah.
It's quite a weight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think consumers do want more than just a sale in lots of ways. I know I like to buy from people that I know are looking after people in the world as well. So I think it can be an advantage to your business, but I don't think it's going to make a business work if it's not a good business model.
Right. Okay. And just wanted to let people listening know we are talking with Joh Lyons, based out of Traralgon, and recently became part of the Gippsland Social Enterprise Network Collective. I think that's right, but close enough, hey, Joh?
Yeah, that is.
So the exciting thing about, for me, about social enterprise is that it is a business. It's got dual objectives. I'm sort of simplifying it here, but what I'm really interested in is how you go about encouraging more people into social enterprises / a business to help pick off and deal with so many of the issues we've got. What are your who can start a social enterprise and what's involved?
Well, I think it's like who can start a business. Anyone can start a business, realistically. But having said that, you would need to be, getting educated around all the things to do with the business, sales, marketing, accounting, all those sorts of things. And there's lots of help out there for business as well as social enterprises. I think the government has really good social procurement initiatives now where they're looking to buy from social enterprises, the state government, that is.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of support around, but, it's a good way to solve social problems. So if you have a great idea about solving a social problem, then I guess the next step is to see how you can turn it into a business model.
And put yourself out there and take it on as something that you need to do. It's really quite exciting that we face all sorts of challenges at the moment, but medium and long term, there's a whole lot of others, and it seems like social enterprises, there's that energy from people just connecting with a cause, but there's that guidance needed to, because you can run out of puff. You can not deliver on doing really good work if you're not stable and you don't get that support and advice. So it's it's exciting. It really is exciting times. What I'm sort of also keen to play out the idea that social enterprise is a business, and you and I have chatted about this on other occasions. Comes a time when, for the business, the social enterprise can be doing okay, financially, but it's time for the owner to maybe do another social enterprise and maybe let some other people take the business over. So what can you talk about that sort of transition?
I'm asking you about that, Michael.
But so it's now your turn to repeat some of that discussion.
I mean, I guess a lot of the social enterprises, if you look at places like artist collectives or, taking Arcunar, for example, as one of the organisations that did our social enterprise training, if the person who was leading ARC left, then somebody would replace her. There would be no, because it's like a collective. But I wonder about other businesses whether that would be the case. I mean, I guess it depends on your governance structure and the intention that you go into, whether you set up a committee, set yourself up as a association or a company.
Because the model is if you have, I work with social entrepreneurs, and it's a business that is a proprietary limited company, and from time to time some of those businesses get approached to sell, and it's a real conundrum for them. I don't want to be seen to be selling out, but I've created something that's clearly got some value for somebody else. They have conniptions. So but we were talking in another recent interview with the head of Employee Ownership Australia, and we got around to cooperatives and employee share plans. So that actually sounds like a pretty good idea of yours in terms of having the kind of structure where the top level owners or even the owner managers can come and go without the business necessarily disappearing or being at risk.
Yeah, so like that would be maybe a incorporated association model. But, potentially if you had like you said, a company, then you could sell. And I don't know, I guess when it comes to selling a business, sometimes it's the best thing for a business, especially if the owners are tired. Like I know with my projects, after a certain period of time, I just sort of lose my puff, So it's better for somebody else to come in and take over. So
it's kind of it's a mature perspective. It's whether you've got a job or you're doing a contract or you've got a business. We all have different cycles, but there's at the end of one of those, it may be, as you say, the best time for somebody else to kind of give it a new lease of life, because you don't have all the answers and you've run out of energy and perhaps that's part of the the thinking is to when people go into these social enterprises, that there is a pathway out, and if you can sell it, that's a wonderful thing, and you can have a say so in who does buy it. So you don't need to be seen to have sold out and devalued the brand or the customer. So it's a pretty strong promise there to those customers.
Yeah.
So the next you've got early days for your collective, your network. So what are some of the things that you've sparked some conversation between them?
Yeah, working with Senvic, we've already got 10 local promising or established social entrepreneurs into some training. So Senvic have a training package, which has been great. And on the 27th of August, we're doing an online launch of our network. So we've got Wen Bazina, who's the manager of the Trobe Valley Enterprises that I was talking about before. She'll be our guest speaker, and we'll have some time for people to network. So we kind of opened up the tickets for that a couple of days ago, and 28 people have already signed up.
Oh, well done.
So, well, yeah, I'm just really, I'm kind of surprised that there's been that much interest already, and I'm thrilled about it, of course. So that's happening, but we did have lots of events and meetups and things planned, but obviously we have had to shuffle around, so do things online and that kind of thing. But I think informally we'll also, we've got a really great team. Steph Thief from Gips Tech, which they deliver Startup Gippsland and Work My Own Way, which is sort of like a small business support thing. We've got a neighbourhood house coordinator. We've got Andrea Lane from East Gippsland, who does amazing cultural sort of projects. So informally through our network, and there's other people as well, but informally through our networks, we'll also be able to connect people and refer people to what they need.
Right.
So,
It's good. With those 10 or so, what's the profile of the people that have started these businesses? Are they all ages? Or are they?
Yeah, all different ages. I would like to see younger people more as well. Not too many sort of really young people. I think
by young you mean sort of
school leavers, things like that.
Right.
When I was at the VRI and we had a lot of unemployed people, I was constantly encouraging people to start their own, choose themselves, as they say, and start their own businesses, because I think the unemployment situation in Gippsland is often, we've got large numbers. So if people can start a business, it's often, a better way than always trying to find the job.
Yeah, look, if the jobs aren't there, and I don't want to sound overly tough, but you've got to look for other ways, and I always champion the idea that people buy a small business. It's not for everybody, but there are some really great opportunities, and in your case, you're saying, social enterprise is another pathway, and I think even if you put aside, as long as it's financially viable.
Yeah.
And you put aside any notion of building it to sell it, but you sustain yourself and you give yourself a job with purpose. That's it's a wonderful outcome
to have in your life.
Yeah. So we've got to wrap it up, unfortunately, Joh. I really do appreciate your time, but in closing, what would we'll put up a post on our website, smallbusinessbanter.com, a link to the site. But what's your last sort of couple of things to encourage more potentially younger people, but across the ages, to get started on their, take action on their idea and their way to solve a particular problem?
Yeah, I just think, everyone has good ideas. I mean, every dinner party I've ever been to, there's been people solving the world's problems. Just take those solutions that you're thinking about a little bit further, explore them, because stranger things have happened, and there are a lot of problems to be solved, and
take your choice, right?
There's lots of support out there at the moment. It's incredibly good time to start something, and have a learning experience.
Yeah. How bad could it be? You're going to learn an awful lot. So, Joh, look, that's great words of encouragement, and obviously they're going to be able to reach out and talk to you or anybody else in the network. We'll put all of that information up on our website. Thank you again so much for your time, and good luck with the collective. Look forward to hearing more.
Thanks, Michael. Bye.
That was a fantastic chat with Joh Lyons from the Gippsland Social Enterprise Network Collective. It is a Victorian organisation, and I'm encouraging those listening in from other states to check out what is the equivalent in their own states. But the key learnings, social enterprise is a way to solve problems, but it's also a way to do it and learn about business, create your own employment opportunities. So I think in the face of a really difficult employment market at the moment, there's never been a better time to consider doing something yourself and creating your own opportunities. And why not connect it to a cause or a purpose or something that is really dear to you? So take up Joh's offer to pick a cause and build a business around to solve that problem. So that's all for today's episode of Small Business Banter. David and I continue to be inspired by bringing you small business experts and hearing your stories. For any of the links, resources or information we've talked about on the show today, or to contact David or I, please head over to smallbusinessbanter.com. And David and I would love you to tune in at the same time next week for another episode of Small Business Banter.